Summer holidays vandachu, நம்ம GT Holidays vandachu. GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
100% placement guarantee உடன் B.Com, B.C.A, B.B.A, B.Sc படிக்க J.N.N College of Arts and Science, Chennai.
Mad Rabbit, India's finest audio wearable brand, starting at 999.
From 2020, when I put my head down and said, this is it, and I had to make it. So the first 3 years was all about the scripting. 2020 to 23 was the writing bit. If you want to play the real cricket, my batsman also needs to know how to play cricket. So we needed to train Siddharth for 9 months to play the ball that is coming at 140 kilometers an hour and play the stroke.
What was the kind of research or homework that you had to do before, the shooting began?
Oh, so, I had said no to Sashi for the script earlier on. When you hear the script, sometimes you see yourself performing the scene when the director is just narrating it to you for the very first time. That itself is a great sign that you're relating to it with your soul.
Limitation is my own understanding of the medium, right? Because I'm doing it for the first time. So adoda periya limitation irukave mudiyadhu actually, because you're going to do this for the first time. There's a specific grammar that comes across. anga vandu ஒரு டென்ஷனான ஒரு விஷயம் நடந்துகிட்டு இருக்குன்னா நீங்க கீழ போய் க்ளோஸ் அப் வைக்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. ஆனால் அந்த டென்ஷன் வரும் நம்மளுக்கு ஆக்சுவலாக. ஸோ யூ நீட் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் த கிராமர், ஹவு டு ஷூட் இட். ஒரு பால் போட்டு ஒரு பேட்ஸ்மேன் அடிக்கிறது வந்து ஒரு சீன். ஸோ வி நீட் டு கன்சீவ் ஈச் ஷாட் as a scene, right? But you need to know the language of it actually. Crowd multiplicationல CG இருக்கும், but there's no single shot where the ball has been recreated or the shots have been recreated. All that is real.
With Aidirathi, he was that lover boy, a role that I was actually originally offered.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't want to do that because I thought I was done with being a lover boy. I wanted to play.
I have to start this conversation congratulating Madhavan sir. 25 years in Tamil, 27 years otherwise with Shanti in Kannada,
yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So, has it always been a very conscious decision to choose projects that keep you relevant across languages?
I think that's a dream for every actor, right? You try to make decisions that are right for your career. But I think more than the conscious decision of having to choose relevant subjects that will keep me relevant, I was smart enough to choose subjects that were more appropriate for me. So reducing the odds of their failure. So that's probably the only credit I can take. But I think everybody wants to be relevant and stay in the industry for as long as they can.
Even when you took the break in 2013 and you went to California, you were still relevant. And this was even before the digital age of, Instagram and all of that. So have you been happy being across languages and doing projects, doing quality work, I would say? So have you been content with the work that you've been doing?
If you ask me, do I look back with contentment? No. I think the more overwhelming feeling I have right now is that I have so much more to give. I'm not firing on all my cylinders yet. And so to look forward to the kind of stuff that I've yet to do is more what makes me tick as opposed to... So taking those breaks in between, a 4-year sabbatical, was a learning experience. It wasn't... I wasn't offended, or I wasn't disturbed, or I wasn't... in a negative sense, there wasn't... it was a purely research-based sabbatical, which I think has stood me in good stead over the period of time.
Shashi sir, you announced this beautiful project, Test, in 2015. You told us that you started writing a sports-themed thriller. What was the next 10 years looked like for you?
Well, I think it's just my role as a producer kind of, took the center stage. There were projects that needed my attention, my undivided attention. So I couldn't prioritize this. And I also think that, sometimes the script needs the writer to mature as well. I needed to go through my testing times to eventually understand. It's easy to just write test on a script and say this is about test, right? But the true nature of it is when you're confronted with it and you'll have to go through it and you see those characteristics changes within you, right? So I think it's the correct content meeting at the right stage of my mental evolution, right? I think as a director, that's the fundamental that you need to understand is, am I worthy of telling this story, right? Because have I understood the nuances of it? So I think it's I think in நம்ம ஊர் தமிழ்ல வந்து they'll say ஊற வச்சிருக்கிறோம்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. It's like something is fermenting, right? I think it's a process, it's a different process to get a different end product actually. So that's what's been happening. We've been evolving the script. And then COVID happened. So that's when, it came as a jolt to, if your intent was to always be a filmmaker and be a director, and then you've been distracted doing other work for 10 years, then it said it was a calling. And so that you kind of dusted the script back, and it was actually from 2020 when I would like put my head down and said, this is it, and I had to make it. So the first 3 years was all about the scripting. 2020 to 23 was the writing bit, and then 23 April is when we started shoot. And that was a beast by itself. It needed to, that was another testing time for us to get the film done, for various reasons. And then but we're finally here, I think, primed and prepped and ready to go.
All set on the 4th of April. Awesome. But were you always keen on having test as a direct-to-digital release, or did it just happen?
So the thing is, as a production house, us foraying into partnership with OTTs have always been there. If you realize that, we had a collaboration with Netflix for Jagamai Tandram, the Dhanush film that we went on. Then the second one was Mandela, which is also a direct to OTT release, and we won a national award for that. Right, so the kind of appreciation and reach for these two films through the platform was something that I was able to understand from close quarters. This was initially not planned as a Netflix kind of thing. We started shoot. As we kind of completed shoot, Netflix was interested because they knew what the film was about, and this they felt would have a global reach because it has cricket in its background. There are other global markets this film could transcend, and then the collaboration started, right? So I mean, for a first-time director for a platform the scale and size and magnitude of Netflix, where you can take your product to 300 million homes, which has 600 million people watching it. That was a fabulous opportunity. I looked at it as a creative opportunity where, storytelling is the first part of it. Somebody listening to your story was the second part of it. And if a platform is offering this great ecosystem where we could tell the story to its captive audience, I thought it was a fantastic opportunity, and we kind of jumped into it.
Brilliant. Well said. Madhavan sir, I have to ask you, you clearly mentioned that it's very difficult for you to choose roles anymore, having been in the industry for so long, having been done so many different genres of characters, unless you see the real self that the world otherwise does not see. So how much of Madhavan do we see in Saravanan in Test?
I think as much as you'll see in all the other roles that I have done. The idea is to keep it real, so that it becomes believable. The genre of the film is very important. This one is not a fantasy, romantic thriller or anything. It's seeped in reality. So to get that realism, one has to put a little bit of one's soul into it. So you'll see a fair bit of my real self in Test, unlike other films maybe.
What are the aspects that resonate with you in person with regards to Saravanan?
He's very pragmatic. He's one of those guys who doesn't see, he sees practical situations super practically. He's fed up that, he's trying to do so much for mankind. He's trying to invent something that will benefit the nation completely. He's trying to replace, fossil fuel. And somehow he's not getting the people and the money required to do it. Whereas somebody just taking a willow and hitting a ball with that gets so much attention and money and becomes a hero. So he has a very, but again, he's dogmatic with his pursuit. That's a lot of that is defining who I really am.
Shashi sir, did Nayan ma'am ever discuss how much she resonated with Kumuda Saravanan during the days of shoot, considering it was a clear-cut yes for her after the 10-minute call that you had with her with regards to your narration?
See, the thing is, I think sometimes it's just, it's a happy coincidence that an actor isn't primed in a position to take on a role, right? I mean, from the trailers, you would understand that she's somebody who's desperate to becoming a mother, right? So she's in that zone kind of thing and is willing to put so much at stake to becoming that mother. I think Nayan was in that space. She had just started a family, all of that was there. So she could understand the struggle of that character, like how desperate one person is to create a small family, a little home for themselves, and the chaos of the world. But like all that I want is this little, space for myself kind of thing. And I mean, it just took, I think it's only because of that, the fact that, see, the thing is, we were not going to her as a star. She's the superstar, right? But then the fact is, we didn't, I didn't take the film saying that, hey, listen, there's a small role, why don't you just come and do your bit and then go off. We wanted her to helm it, take on the role and then own it, right? So if we were giving an author-backed role for it, she needed to be fully there because it's a performance piece, right? So you're absolutely right. She completely resonated with the character, and because a lot of the writing towards the end was, I could almost see her because I've known her for like 15 years before. So a lot of these personality traits that I could see in my character, I was able to see in Nine. So it's like a hand in glove kind of situation, right? So uh, absolutely, she resonated with the character, and that's the reason she said yes. Because I'm a first-time director, it wouldn't have been for me, but for the script and the role that was offered to her is the reason that came through.
Madhavan sir, you also mentioned in a very recent conversation that Shalini ma'am was your last Tamil-speaking heroine, first and last Tamil-speaking heroine, after which you also decided that you're not going to be taking up projects that do not involve live sound. Tell me, how much as an actor do you seek from another actor on set while shooting a scene?
Oh, very much so. You can't have two actors performing in different octaves. One's intensity has to match the other, or one's energy has to match the other. That's when the film looks wholesome. So if I'm firing with all my cylinders and somebody with me doesn't know the language, so is restricted by the lines driving them rather than the character, then it has a very non homogeneous sort of a performance. I have suffered with that earlier on. So I would like to fire with all my cylinders and be there 300%. And hopefully the co-star that I'm working with also has the same attitude towards the film. It's only then that we're able to rise above the script.
Playing Kumuda's husband, Saravanan, what was the kind of research or homework that you had to do before, the shooting began?
Also, I had said no to Sashi for the script earlier on.
Really?
And yeah, I wasn't able to relate to the character too much till he showed me a different perspective of how to judge a script or look at the stories. And I'm very grateful for that because it was a learning experience. For me, the homework was actually relying heavily on Sashi and getting onto the set and hopefully doing exactly what he had envisaged this character to do. For that, the homework would be learning all the lines backwards, knowing the entire scene backwards, making sure that the basic prep that one expects from an actor is there. Be there on time. Make sure you're spending time understanding your own home, the geography, and then letting Sashi take over and do his magic.
And how is he as a director? Is he a taskmaster? Is he easy?
He is the kind of director that I would love to submit to, and that's saying a lot. After all the body of work that I've done in 25 years, you always go onto the set, you're trying to protect the director from things that might not be smart. You're trying to direct the entire proceedings in such a manner that the project becomes viable and successful. And sometimes you have to do that. And yet other times you're very happy just submitting yourself to the director and saying, I'm yours, just do what you want with me, and then feel happy about it. And Sashi was one of those.
When Madhavan sir is cast in a film, audience க்கு வந்து ஒரு sense of confidence அங்க வந்துருது. மாதவன் சார் இந்த படத்தில் இருக்காரு, மாதவன் இருக்காரு அப்படின்னா இந்த படம் வந்து ஒரு சென்சிபிளான ஃபில்மாக இருக்கும் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு கான்ஃபிடென்ஸை ஹி பிரிங்ஸ் டு த டேபிள் கண்டிப்பாக இல்லையா? பீட் ஃபர்ஹான் குரேஷி வித் 3 Idiots ஆர் கார்த்திக் இன் அலைபாதி ஆர் மெனி ஆஃப் ஹிஸ் ஃபில்ம்ஸ், நம்பி நாராயணன் ராக்கெட்ரி. So what is that magical aspect? What is that charm that you think you have brought to Sara in Test?
Well, the question is very different from the prelude of the question that you just said. So the sensibility is because that is paying to my strength. I play a common man in most people with uncommon abilities, and that makes him a hero. So that has been the base rock of my selection of stories. I have not been able to do superhero films with larger than life images because I'm not able to relate to that. The second thing is, bringing that magic or relatability to Sarah was the entire reason why I selected the script. Is because when you hear the script, sometimes you see yourself performing the scene when the director is just narrating it to you for the very first time. That itself is a great sign that you're relating to it with your soul. And sometimes that is enough for you to know that this is the right project for you. When you trust it with that much of confidence, then that translates on to the audiences as well. So it is very strange, the magic of the trailer or the teaser or even the first poster, how it translates what is actually the content of the film so effectively to the media and to the public. It's just an extraordinary magic of cinema.
Coming to your acting, we know that you're a phenomenal actor, but you're also an incredible director. So, moving forward, என்னைக்காவது ஒரு ஸ்கிரிப்டில் உட்காந்து ஒர்க் பண்ணி ஒரு ஜான்ரா ஆஃப் படம் நான் பண்ணோம் அப்படின்னா எந்த மாதிரியான படம் பண்ணோம் அண்ட் யாரை வச்சு பண்ணோன்னு ஆசை தமிழில்?
So, Rocketry was an exception. I've never directed anything before, ma. So, அது ஒரு கட்டாயத்தை பண்ண வேண்டிய விஷயமா போச்சு. I think as an actor, I have a lot more to give. I really feel that I think I have a lot more romance to show. I think I have a lot more drama to show. And இப்போதைக்கு I want to concentrate only on acting because the turnaround time of an actor is much faster. If I were to direct a film, then a minimum of him, for him it is 5 years, but a minimum of 2.5 years goes away where you can't do anything else in between. And so I'm not in a state of mind to do that right now. I want to just go out and explore all the acting possibilities.
அண்ட் இதில் வந்து டெஸ்ட் கிரிக்கெட் நிறைய நாங்கள் பார்க்க போகிறோம் அப்படிங்கிற நம்பிக்கை எனக்கு இருக்குது ட்ரெய்லர் பார்த்ததில், அப்புறம் அந்த ப்ரெஸ் மீட்டோட கான்வர்சேஷன்ஸில். சார், உங்களுக்கு நீங்கள் சொன்னீங்க நிறைய கிராமர் வந்து கற்றுக்க வேண்டியதாக இருந்தது ஃபார் ஷூட்டிங் ஆக்சுவல் மேட்சஸ். எந்த மாதிரியான லிமிட்டேஷன்ஸ், எந்த மாதிரியான சேலஞ்சஸ் as a director?
Limitation is my own understanding of the medium, right? Because I'm doing it for the first time. So அதோட பெரிய limitation இருக்கவே முடியாது actually, because you're going to do this for the first time. And then, but the good thing also about it is that you're not conditioned to doing anything in one particular way, right? Because, for example, if a traditional director had to go and do a sports film and start shooting, he has so much knowledge about how he would shoot a regular scene and then would want to take so much of it into that. But for me, day one of shooting a drama scene was as new as going and shooting a sports thing. So I was able to absorb things faster. I don't have the problem of knowing much. So this is also something that I could learn very quickly, right? What was needed for the film is something that I needed to quickly understand and learn. Sports films, and especially cricket, we are so used to it. You know, in a lifespan of somebody watching TV, you would technically have watched more cricket, right? For at least a certain demography, you would watch cricket in a specific thing. And without you knowing, there's a specific grammar that comes across. அங்கே வந்து ஒரு டென்ஷனான ஒரு விஷயம் நடந்துக்கிட்டு இருக்குன்னா, நீங்கள் கீழே போய் க்ளோஸ்அப் வைக்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. ஆனால் அந்த டென்ஷன் வரும் நம்மளுக்கு ஆக்சுவலாக. ஸோ யூ நீட் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் த கிராமர், ஹவு டு ஷூட் இட். ஸோ if you got like 12 cameras to capture the same action, you should look at it as a scene. ஒரு பால் போட்டு ஒரு பேட்ஸ்மேன் அடிக்கிறது வந்து ஒரு சீன். ஸோ வி நீட் டு கன்சீவ் ஈச் ஷாட் as a scene, right? But you need to know the language of it actually. So so I needed to understand how to work with broadcast cameras because they let you capture the sport from outside the boundary. இல்லைன்னா நம்ம சினிமா கேமரா எடுத்துட்டுனா you will have to go into the field of play, and that breaks the visual grammar of the film. So you needed to know how to shoot drama from outside the ring, right? So we needed to use those big cameras. Ball follow பண்ண நம்மளோட கேமராவில் வந்து பாலை ஃபாலோ பண்ண முடியாது. அவ்வளோ ஃபாஸ்ட்டாக அடிக்கும் போது you can't turn the camera to capture it. So these are things that you'll have to understand. So if you want to play the real cricket, my batsman also needs to know how to play cricket. So we needed to train Siddharth for 9 months to play the ball that is coming at 140 kilometers an hour and play the stroke. Otherwise, so we had to reenact an entire match and then capture it. So it's like staging a big play. Like ஒரு live play வந்து we had to shoot. We know the sequence of how the cricket is going to happen. So we had to stage a live game and then start shooting the scenes that we wanted. So we had 12 cameras. Then there's a lot of technical things like how to do CG on top of it, because crowd multiplication la CG இருக்கும், but there's no single shot where the ball has been recreated or the shots have been recreated. All that is real. but background the crowd has to be multiplied. So there's so much of technical details which was great. I mean, like, it was a challenge for again, as a first time director, adu oru challenge. I had to take it up. We prepped for almost 9 months for getting the cricket of it right.
அதனால தான் இவ்வளோ நாங்கள் வந்து வெயிட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம் டெஸ்ட்டுக்காக. பட் டாக்கிங் அபவுட் சித்தார்த் சார், you've had an amazing relationship with him, a very, very special bond as a brother, as an AD, as an actor, as a co-actor. So, Rangde Basanti, Aidhelthu, ipo test. So, what are you, what's the bond like apart from, playing these characters on screen?
I'm very fond of Siddharth. I think I look at him as a younger brother because he came in as an associate director when I was doing Aidhelthu in Tamil. And I've always been fascinated by his knowledge, by the amount of topics he's able to speak so freely. He wears his emotions on his sleeves, and he is, you get what you see with him. That's always been a wonderful thing. Also, all the films that we've done, he's done a brilliant job, and he's, like in Rangde Basanti, for instance, he carried the entire climax with Amir with it, and with Aidhelthu, he was that lover boy, a role that I was actually originally offered.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't want to do that because I thought I was done with being a lover boy. I wanted to play Inba instead. So, and the Mari, so that connection or bond irke. And I think over a period of time, after Rangde Basanti, the first time we connected was with Test. Nadula will keep seeing each other and talking to each other. He had come for the release of Iridi Sutra and all that. But interaction-wise, happened during Test. And he's done such a sincere, such a committed job that, I mean, everyone will be very surprised with how he's turned out on the film.
And he's the test player.
He's a test player. He's a
in
cricketer in the
Test,
film.
Ilya.
Yes.
Who's your favorite test match player?
I was fairly young but I think for me, I remember when Sachin used to come out and bat, or Dravid used to come out and bat, you felt that, now I can sit down and enjoy the match because there will be no shocks or surprises.
Madhavan sir, we also know that you share a very, very special friendship with Surya sir and Ajit sir. Did you have any conversations with them with regards to Test?
No, not really. Work-wise, I just, apart from informing them and asking them to help me promote it, Surya and I, we talk about the roles and how excited we are working with directors, and we discuss directors, but that's about it.
And also about Meera Jasmine. What a wonderful comeback has she
given
us.
Yeah. We've had a great pairing with in Run as well as in Aidhelthu. But unfortunately, in this one, she is paired with Siddharth. And I think they make a wonderful couple. And I think more age appropriate. Over a period of time, one becomes, has to be very careful with the kind of co-stars you get, because you don't want to look anything but the relationship that you've been cast for. And Meera has continued to look the same as she did in Run.
Beautiful, beautiful. We're very, very excited for the 4th of April, considering it's the first Tamil drop of Netflix. And Madhavan sir is a part of it. Shashi sir has directed it. One last word that you'd like to tell our audiences. Kandipa parunga. Edukkaga paakano appadinu.
It's a labor of love. And unlike theatres, we don't expect everybody to see it on the first day. But over a period of time, I'm very sure that Netflix and testing padam will be a extraordinary result for all of us.
Well, it's a human drama. It talks about us going through life and finding our test, and through our tests we find ourselves. So it'll be for people who have gone through tests, and also we'll talk to people who are going to go through their test. Don't look at test as something that's going to be the end of the road, but look at it as something that will keep defining you, and the fact that test will keep telling you who you really are. So it's something that I think people will connect, and hopefully the stories will hit home.
Thank you so much, Madhavan sir. Thank you so much, Shashi sir.
Very sweet.
All love, all prayers your way.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Summer holidays vandachu, நம்ம GT Holidays vandachu. GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
100% placement guarantee உடன் B.Com, B.C.A, B.B.A, B.Sc படிக்க J.N.N College of Arts and Science, Chennai.
Mad Rabbit, India's finest audio wearable brand, starting at 999.